Hi, guys. So, I want to talk about a topic. Probably no one is going to watch this. Probably one person is going to watch this. I think one person will be enough because I want to touch a topic that I find very delicate nowadays. And is that how I know about people who get stagnant, frightened, or paralyzed because of failure. They don't want to do anything with their lives because they think that if they fail, that's it. They are not valuable anymore. They cannot do anything else with their lives. So that's why I'm bringing up this topic that the Lord also loses battles. Now, I'm not making this up, okay? If you go through the Bible, you'll see this repeatedly in various stories and events in the Holy Bible, from big battles to even the minor arguments. And I want to bring up two notable examples. The first one is when the angel of God wrestled with Jacob until dawn. Now, we know that Jacob ultimately won. The angel lost to Jacob. That's surprising. It's impressive, right? And if we go to the second one, we are talking about Jesus on crucifixion, his torture, like his suffering and all the pain is considered one of the greatest defeats and losses in human history. Now, we know that these are calculated defeats, calculated losses. What is important, however, is what happens afterwards. It reveals a reality that many overlook or ignore. After every defeat comes a lesson. After every defeat, it comes revolution, a new birth, a victory. And this is not only for the Holy Bible, this is not only applied to God, it's applied to human beings as well. In Jacob's case, although the angel lost, it was a turning point and a moment of redemption for him. His identity changed from Jacob, which means the supplanter of deceiver, to Israel, which means the one who struggles with God. Now, in Jesus' cases, it was the greatest victory for humanity. Jesus brought grace, redemption, and eternity by losing and sacrificing his perfect human life. And God allowed it. The question is, if something as all powerful as God embraces defeat and accepts loss for what it truly is, which is a mean of learning and transformation, why do we human beings find it so difficult to accept that defeat is part of life and often a window to greater things? Contrary to what many believe, the most successful people we know had to fail many times to achieve what they now have, whether I don't know, money, peace, freedom, or skill. Defeat served to transform their very character, to temper their souls and their body. Today, we reject the journey and the process of growth and want instant success without sacrifice. All the first, at the first drop of sweat, we shrink back. We want to escape. To explain this, there are two main pillars of the true loser stereotype, if you will. And how is this caused? And the first factor, the first pillar, it's the effect of our environment. Now, throughout our lives, we cling to victory, to winning, to never letting our knees touch the ground. Unlike God, we have become proud, arrogant, vain, Have you ever met someone so egocentric that they are incapable of accepting their mistakes, even when they are rel- like obviously wrong? The truth is that that fire that you have inside of you, that passion, it never truly dies. It simply remains like a dormant embers while you stay distracted from your purpose to avoid the pain of trying and failing. You intoxicate yourself with games, with entertainment and social media. And yet, even in those moments of silence, you can feel there's something that is missing inside of you. You are you have fallen into this psychological bias of if I don't try, I won't lose. At some point in our lives, whether through teachings of our family, school, or I don't know, the history or audiovisual media, we construct the narrative that defeat is for those who lack courage, for those who are insufficient and weak. And that is the ultimate humiliation. We are conditioned to hate and fear defeat, to reject mistakes, even if that stagnates the process. We want to be fully prepared for challenges. We want to know everything even before we learn. We crave instant gratification at no risk or pain or cost. However, by never trying and always walking the safe path, our defense mechanism has turned us into what fear the most: losers, failure. But you don't want to accept this because by accepting this, you are entering in an existential crisis and a cognitive dissonance so strong that it's so difficult to merge with yourself without breaking down first. In the very attempt to avoid pain, you become more distracted and fill that void with, I don't know, excessive indulgence, like food, for example, pleasure, and you're practically running away from your dreams. You convince to yourself somehow that your dreams and your objectives are impossible to attain, to achieve. So you distract yourself to try to become numb to what you want in your life. But the time is ticking. Your illusion of reality, the illusion of social media, the fantasy of the media, it transforms who you are and taught you one of the biggest lies in history. Losing, even momentarily, is wrong. Now, the second pillar is our survival instinct. Because we talk already about our environment and how society is affecting us in the social media, the fake narrative that if you lose, you are the enemy, you are the bad guy in the story, right? Like, how many times have you watched a movie, a series, and if you lose, you are just the loser, right? It's not that simple. And the second pillar is very important because we are talking about instincts. In many aspects of ourselves, we still retain those traits and marks from our hominid ancestors. That lizard brain that make us flee and avoid physical and psychological pain, that distance us from rejection. In that era, when we were still hunters, rejection by your community or a group meant the inability for reproduction, and almost a certain death sentence due to the isolation. You needed a group, you needed a community to survive, right? That's why Inwardly, there is something in your limbic system and your brain amygdala that is like an alarm, where rejection is like it's like death incarnated. Our instincts are a fundamental pillar in our emotional environment and perception of defeat. And it's not a secret we are driven by primitive impulses. The problem is that we try unsuccessfully to negotiate logically with a brain that possesses no language beyond emotion. To change that, you need to talk the same language. You need to communicate in the same channel, which is through experience and emotions obtained. You break the barrier, embracing the pain of failure, of rejection, even. You are in some sort of exposure system, a progressive closeness to what you fear the most. To harvest the rewards of your sacrifice, you have to expose yourself to the risk of pain, to dare even though you don't feel prepared. After all, God doesn't choose the prepared, but rather prepares the chosen and breaks all the root of their insecurities, which is their ego, their pride, their identity. Now, I'm going to ask you, do you consider defeat as a total symbol of failure? Or is it a calculation, a progressive calculation of victory?